Y'all, I have made it to the motherland. Hello, ma'am fam. I hope you are ready for a very, very fun and unique video. We are here outside of the Joffrey's corporate headquarters, and it may not look like much, but we are gonna have so much fun today. Joffrey's invited me out. It is their 40th anniversary this month, so they are ready to celebrate, and they've invited me to come check out their brewing process, get to tour a little bit, interview some of the brewmasters, try some coffee, y'all. But let's go in and learn about the company that fuels all of my Disney park days and every video you've ever seen. This is the home of Shaky Jamaica, y'all. First things first, coffee, obviously, and look at the break room here. Look at this situation. They also have a roast master here who can make anything you want, but I picked up some of the 40th anniversary blend right in here. Obviously, gonna try the special blend, and actually today is 40th anniversary day of Joffrey's in Tampa. Like the city of Tampa mayor declared it such, which is awesome. We also have some milk and creamers. Here we go. Headed in to see how the coffee is made. Feel like Aaron Burr never was. I get to go to the room where it happened. But first I have to wash my hands because safety is important. Hopefully you can hear me considering it's quite loud in here, but it smells amazing. And we're gonna learn all about the process to go from a little bean into our delicious cups, fueling our adventures around Disney World. I know you guys are with me. I'm immediately drawn to the labels right here of the different blends. I'm picking out all the ones I've had. There's a Christmas Mickey blend. It looks like that's one of the fall Mickey blends. There's the one that's in a lot of the hotel rooms.
This is where all of the Joffrey's products are roasted. We have 4 roasting. We have a 4-bagger right behind, which I'll show you in a minute. And we have a small one which do anywhere from 5 to 90 pounds. The 2-baggers can do about 220 pounds. And the 4-bagger does about 500 pounds of roasted coffee every 15 to 18 minutes, depending on a lot of variables. Degree of roast, the beginning moisture of the coffee, the type of blend, the origin, it all plays a role to how long it can take. Behind us here, coffee from all over the world. Usually it takes about 8 weeks from origin to any of our ports. Once it arrives here, our turnaround and what we have in the building will be about 14 days. So we're currently rotating our coffee to keep the freshness as fresh as we can. Once it's roasted, we'll bring it out there and the same thing. Once we take a hand of it, the freshness stays all the way through. We roast and pack within 48 hours and ship within 74 days. We're currently rotating product as fast as we can. Keep the freshness of our product. Like if you look at the size of Disney, they're getting weekly deliveries. Keep truckloads every week with fresh product.
So right now, this is one of the smaller roasters that can do about 220 pounds of coffee. We're about to see dumped in. It's been roasted. It's already been roasted?
Yeah. So on the top, you've got the green, and the one inside is roasted. Getting ready to dump into the cooling track. So you've got one roasted, one ready to go next. So it's
awesome.
Continuous batch roasting.
It smells literally so good in here. I can't even handle it. We're about to watch another bigger machine drop 500 pounds of coffee. My God, you can see the steam. Whoa! That's so much coffee. Oh my gosh, this is heaven. 500 pounds of coffee. Unbelievable.
So once the door opens, and that's at the peak of the press of that roasted coffee that we're doing, you got the 500 pounds of coffee is going to end up in the cooling tray. What the cooling tray does is it stops the roasting process as fast as possible. You take coffee from 400 degrees to room temperature in about 5-6 minutes. Once it's completely cool, think about 12 minutes in, our destoner will take over, and it'll vacuum it up into the silo. The neat thing about the destoner is if there's anything heavier than a coffee bean, it'll get stuck at the bottom. We have magnets, so if there's any kind of metals that might have gone through from holding the bag on the pallet, it'll also be captured prior to it going into our next step.
If it's like flavored coffee, like all your flavored blends, when is the flavor added?
That's actually next one. We'll show that in a
Okay,
little
cool.
bit.
Thank you. So this is just coffee
This
beans?
is all roasting.
Just roasting.
Just roasting. Taking our green coffee into our roasted coffee.
Where is this coffee from?
This is from Cerro de Jesus, Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. What country do you have the most beans from? Yeah, same country. Yeah, where is yours?
It's hard because we have so many blends. I will say you've got a lot from Mexico, Colombia, and Brazil, which are really up there as to how much coffee we bring in from those countries.
Yeah.
But like I've mentioned before, coffee always changes. So there might be times in years where, you know what, I can't get the same coffee out of this country. I have to go to Honduras, to Costa Rica, to try to balance and get the amounts that we need.
So this is it when it comes out of the bag, out of the ground?
This is where it comes in from any port of origin, any country. This is what it looks like once it is roasted.
How long does it take for an average blend, like your classic Joffrey's blend to
Joffrey's
roast?
medium blend will be about 16 minutes. Our dark roast will be closer to the 18 minutes.
Okay.
But in between, you've got espresso roast. I mean, again, it all depends on the coffee.
Yeah.
They all react differently.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys want to give you a little bit of this, it's probably gonna be the freshest coffee you'll ever. Try to crush it. If you look at the world map, 20 degrees north and south to the equator is where you can grow coffee. It has to be at the right climate and the right temperature. So depending on the countries, if they have one rainy season, they'll have one big harvest. 2 rainy seasons, they'll have 2, and they don't have a distinct rainy season, they can harvest the whole year round.
Oh, wow.
There's only one little piece of islands that are outside of that subtropical belt, and that's Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Hawaii just stands right outside, and they can always harvest coffee. One of the best coffees out there in the world.
500 pounds of coffee. How many bags of coffee is that?
Depending on the size.
Okay.
1 pound bags obviously is about 500 pounds, but if you're looking at frac packs,
sure.
which are 2 ounces or anywhere from 1 ounce all the way to 12 ounce, it all depends on how many. But you can usually get, if you're doing 2 ounces, that's 4,000 packets.
Wow. Wow. And how many of those happen a day?
How many batches?
Yeah.
Depending on the day. We're a roast to order company. So we're roasting based on what we have in the system to be produced, to be shipped out.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, we try to rotate the product as fast as we can to keep our freshness.
Yeah.
So what we're producing today might be something that's shipping Monday, Tuesday. Try to keep it as fresh as possible so that our product is that much better.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody can have a bunch of pallets of product and then just pick it from a DC. We don't.
Yeah.
Roast to order. How many pounds do you guys roast in a year? We're close to 4 million pounds a year.
4 million pounds a year. Wow. That's amazing. You said you have the military too?
Yes.
Local branches or?
So nationwide.
Wow, that's
it's the military.
Wow.
So as the coffee travels here, if it's going to be a whole bean product, it gets staged here.
Okay.
If it's going to be a ground product, we'll grind it and then transfer it over to another
So
bank.
these are all grinders?
First 2 are granulizers or grinders. They grind 1,000 pounds in about 45 minutes.
Whoa.
I know you guys have asked about flavors.
Yes.
Behind us is where we flavor all of our coffee.
Where's Shaky Jamaican?
Shaking Jamaican.
Yeah.
Well,
That's what I call it.
the base for our shaking Jamaican is Jamaican Me Crazy.
Okay.
So we roast the coffee as we do everything else. Then we'll come over here and flavor it. The way flavoring works, we'll add an exact amount of coffee, an exact amount of flavor, put it in the food grade mixer until it tumbles and it's all evenly coated. Then we grind it. All of our flavors are non-allergenic, gluten-free, sugar-free, everything free, I guess.
This is the flavors. Unfortunately, I could not find Shaky Jamaican. Said that one's top secret. But that's where they get the flavors from to add to the coffee to make the coffee blends that are flavored. This bag right here, this is whole roasted coffee. This is not been ground. Look how big this bag is. It's like as big as me. And there's so many of them. And these are gonna get packaged as whole beans versus the ones we saw going into the grinder over there.
In all of the quick service restaurants and a lot of their food courts, this is what you will find.
Had it. Still love it. That you guys do in single bags too, right? For the resort rooms?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the next.
Okay. When it comes to making new blends and new flavors, how long does that process take?
It takes every bit of 3 to 4 months. Chris and I are looking at what the product is, what the finished good is going to be, what we want to put in the statement for that product.
Like, for example, they did the blend earlier this year for Princess Tiana to celebrate the new ride. Is that something where, like, Disney comes to you and says, we want a coffee for this? Or how
Our marketing team, that's really good with the trends.
Yeah.
And they get with Disney and then they come up with an idea, bring it to us.
And so then, okay, you're going to do Tiana. But how long does it take from that idea to having the beignet flavored coffee that I can drink?
Well, 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
You guys just try different flavor
Because
mixes?
we have our flavor base, which is the coffee.
Right.
And now we just look at what flavor we want to put in that coffee.
Yeah.
So that one we wanted with the beignet.
Yeah.
So we had to look for the right vendor, one of our partners, to have the right beignet flavor that we wanted to put out there with our product.
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't just take any regular beignet flavor. We go through maybe a half a dozen to a dozen different varieties of the flavor to come up with the best one that we like.
The one thing I love about Joffrey's and why I prefer y'all's coffee is I really don't like artificial tasting things. And a lot of other coffees, when you start adding flavor, start tasting artificial, and y'all don't. So that's obviously one, good quality beans, and then also just good vendors that come up with the flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've been in the business for 40 years.
Yeah.
We've vetted our vendors.
Yeah.
We've done our homework. We've got great partnerships for that amount of time.
Yeah.
So we know who to play nice with and who we get the right products from.
Yeah.
Again, we're making a statement with our products. So you want the best of the best, not just any flavor.
Yeah.
There are probably 100 flavor vendors out there.
Yeah.
But we've got the ones that we actually do like.
You've got the best of us, for sure.
We have banana, we have caramel, we have chocolate. Again, we go to each one of our partners, hey, this is what we're looking for. Now we dial them down and let's say, oh, we like these two. And you know what? I like this one from you. I want you to bump up the banana a little bit. And we have that communication, that relationship where everybody can have bananas faster. Right. But we make ours different by adjusting the flavors that we want. But like I said, we usually tweak our flavors to make it our Joffrey flavor.
Yeah.
Cool. Whether it's highlighting a little more of one of the flavors or adding a little bit different attribute to it.
It's really cool being in here and just looking around at the different palettes because I'm like spotting blends. I know the Resort blend, the Decaf Resort blend. There's the Napa Rose blend, the Mickey blend, and yes, Yachtsman Steakhouse. They do lots of other brands as well, but it is fun to spot the Disney blends as we pop through. So here they're doing some single serve bags, and we learned that this green tube right here is putting in a shot of nitrogen as the bag seals so that it removes any of the oxygen to keep it fresher for longer because they really prioritize freshness. The roast master was just explaining to us as well that they will sample the beans time and time again throughout the roast process to make sure that it's the quality that they want because they pride themselves on having the best quality beans, which as someone who drinks a lot of coffee, including a lot of Joffrey's coffee, I've always thought you could taste that. I've always preferred it to other brands. And he said they will get samples in from the farmers that they work with. They'll roast them, try them, make sure they're doing okay. Take several weeks to get here on the water. They will sample it again. They will sample it before it begins roasting, and then they'll pull samples off at random as well to just, again, maintain that quality. Now we're getting to watch them bag the individual bags that you've probably seen in your Disney World hotel room before. These are actually ground right here as opposed to over in the big grinders. And then it fills the little coffee filter pod and then it fills it into its personalized little bag right there. And then again, that's what you use when you're waking up for your rope drop in your Disney hotel room. That was so cool. Now that we had that amazing tour of the roast process behind the scenes at the facility, now we are back in the tasting room to enjoy some coffee. Something magical is happening right now. I'm getting a special shaken Jamaican, but nitro version. This is the dream. Thank you. Oh my God, so beautiful. Can you explain what it means to be nitro versus regular cold brew?
You introduce nitro, so you infuse it.
Yeah.
That's your dispensing it in this case. Sometimes it's in the kegerator.
Yeah.
But in this case, the machine does the infusion for us. So think of it as a Guinness.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's the same effect.
I've had many of your shaken Jamaicans and I've had many of the nitros, but I've never had.
Let's see what you think about this.
Okay. Nitro, shaky Jamaican.
Where's your bathroom?
We have one around the corner here.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Now I'm just upset I can't have this regularly. It's so good. It's creamier. I can taste the flavor more, like the caramel. Yeah, and yeah.
Coffee liqueur.
You can taste it more. I'm also excited because the president of Joffrey, I'm just kidding, his name's not Joffrey. We are going to get to chat with him and learn a little bit more about the history of the company.
How did Joffrey start? Who decided to create the brand and really go forward, working with Disney and really just becoming what you guys became,
So as you know, we got started 40 years ago. And there were two gentlemen, both by the name of Jeff, actually. came from Seattle.
Yeah.
Early 80s, you remember Starbucks was just really, Howard Schultz purchased the company like late 70s and just started to grow this industry that we call specialty coffee.
Sure.
And Jeff Babcock's mother lived in Sarasota. And saw what was taking place in Seattle. Said, you know, this could work in Florida. So, long story short, comes here, set up a roasting facility, got a building in Drew Park, which is now one of the runways of the airport.
No, really?
Yeah.
No way.
Wow.
We always were a roaster from day one. And we started with a roasting facility, very small, and a coffee shop, which was in Hyde Park. In 1994, we get this call from, and so the good by having a retail store in the one in Hyde Park was, so we had a Disney executive went into the store. Had the best coffee he's ever had. Made a call here. There was a guy by the name of Mark Brzezinski, who was with Disney's operating participant group. And so they asked us to do a test location, which was in Typhoon Lagoon. And this was it opened up in 1995.
Right.
But we literally we built this little push cart almost to do specialty coffee drinks in Typhoon Lagoon, which we still have that location today. But I mean, it's obviously not a push cart any longer. And it worked. And then they came back to us and asked if we'd be interested in doing, another location here, another location there. And it just kept, evolving. Late 90s, specialty coffee was really starting to grow.
Sure.
And there was this theme across property that there was better coffee in certain locations. And so the chefs were wanting to be able to, just in like Flying Fish and
That's where it started.
yeah.
Oh, that was
That's right, that was the first location.
Rob Donovan was the Flying Fish, and I tasted your coffee, I want to have it. I said, well, I can't do that. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, you guys were at the time under another contract.
Oh, gotcha.
And he goes, if I could figure out a way to backdoor you in, will you sell me, get me the coffee? I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he called me like 2 weeks later and said, hey, you're going to get a purchase order it's going to be called this. So I started selling them coffee. About 2 months later, they're having a managers meeting, and all the managers from all the different signature restaurants are meeting at the Flying Fish. And George Miliotis, who at the time was the general manager of California Grill, sitting there having his coffee, and he looked at Rob and he goes, this isn't Disney coffee, what are you doing? And he goes, I got the guy from Joffrey's backdooring it. So sure enough, the next day I get a call. Chris, this is George Miliotis. Whatever you're doing for Rob, you're going to do for me now.
Wow.
And I was like, oh. So I started backdooring hand coffee. About a month later, I get a phone call from our buyer at the time, Evelyn Dyson. Chris? I'm like, yeah, I know what you're doing. I swear it wasn't me that made me. She goes, come in, we got to figure out how we're going to do this without both of us losing our jobs. I said, okay.
Right.
And that's where they found, because of the way the contract was written, we were able to do something that the contractor could not do.
You're not providing.
So they kind of started to backdoor us in, and we were able to get in. Couldn't go anywhere near the parks, but they allowed us into the resorts.
As long as there's foot traffic, we're going to do well.
Right.
And so we're not having to market ourselves there. Our focus is just the operations. I make sure that we provide the best guest experience, cup after cup after cup. Outside of there, it's different. You're also having to try to drive traffic into your
locations. Areas, yeah.
So, today we have 22 locations, I believe, 23 locations throughout the parks and resorts. And so, backtracking a little bit, so in 2009, Nestle gave up the corporate alliance piece for coffee. They still have other segments. And that opened the door then for us to evolve into becoming a corporate alliance. In 2012, we signed a deal, and we are the largest operating participant, food and beverage partner that they have.
Yeah.
But we also a wholesaler to them.
Yep.
We also have the part of our renewal hot cocoa contract.
Yeah.
So we have all the hot cocoa across.
I had some this week at
Florida.
the Christmas party.
Thank you.
It was delicious as well.
Good. But it's just it's a fun business. It really is.
When it comes to the Disney retail products, we're kind of talking about this back there, but do you go to them with ideas or do they come to you with ideas? Or is it a little bit of both, like the Hocus Pocus blend this year or some of the blends you can buy at retail stores?
So those products that you see, we do that through Disney's licensing group, which is out of Burbank.
Yeah.
So Disney will get with Disney's licensing group and talk about, okay, for the next year or the next 12 months, what is it that they've got coming out? And there was a push for like with the Hocus Pocus because they were reintroducing, that movie and so forth. So we will take those ideas and then we do the creation.
Do they just say Hocus Pocus to you and then it's up to you to decide what flavor Hocus Pocus is, or do they say?
Yes. Yeah. No, they don't get involved with that. We will get style guides.
Yeah.
And from an art perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then we create from that.
So
No, when it comes to the product itself,
That's all you guys.
no, we go to that. And then same thing with on the wholesale side with the food and beverage team from here as well as in California. They will talk about, okay, we have this concept that we're wanting to do. Here's a great example. So Tiana's, which is an embodied there, right? So it started out California first. And they said, we want to do something that, would be more New Orleans style, so it'd be like a chicory. And that was all they said.
Okay.
And then we
just go off.
we create from there.
Go off on that.
So because when we were talking about the Tiana's one, I kind of assumed Disney told you beignets, but that was you guys coming up with beignets as the coffee profile.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we try to make it as easy as possible for them, and we want them to not be involved in terms of just let us be the creator.
Just let us do it.
Right? Just tell us what you're looking for, and then let us be your expert.
That's awesome. They just say to you Star Wars, and you guys came up with the Star Wars blends or whatever.
Yeah, so you're thinking about Star Wars and, the big thing, Darth Vader. So, okay, probably should be a full body dark roast.
Yeah. How fun.
Did I say that right?
The dark side, dark collection.
Yeah, I have it. Do you have a favorite blend you guys have made for them?
Do I have a favorite?
Yeah. Any of you?
I have to tell you, I was extremely impressed with the 50th.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reception to that was like,
Yeah.
we were always happy but I mean, when people couldn't get enough of it, and to this day, we're still getting on our website, we want the 50th. Why don't we need the 50th? That was extremely humbling and gratifying to see that, people enjoyed it that much.
Yeah.
That was
Really good.
Are you the geniuses behind the flavors? Could you elaborate on your
We
background?
are the geniuses, and I use that term extremely cautiously. We are the creators of the actual blends. The flavors are things that we work in collaboration with a flavor company. So when you come to us and you want a hazelnut, we don't go, what Miguel and I will do is we'll go to the flavor company and okay, what kind of a hazelnut do you want? It's like a peach. Want to do a peach tea. Okay, well, what kind of peach do you want? I'm not going to just take an off the wall peach because anybody can do that. We want to do what we call putting the Joffrey spin on it. So we want to make it a better peach. So it's like, well, what kind of peach do we want? Do we want a juicy peach? Do you want a sweet peach? Do you want a ripe peach? You want to go a little on the edge and get an overripe peach, which has a really distinct, different flavor. So it's not anything, you always have to try to put a unique spin on it so that ours is going to be, if you put 4 different peach teas on the table, ours is going to stand out. That's what our goal is. Always, and we're never satisfied. We might be great today, but we always get up in the morning and say we can make it better today. And I've been doing this for more years than I'd like to admit. And I get up every morning and I'm excited about being able to come here. So Mom was teaching me to cook because your recipe is only as good as your ingredients. So use a really good base coffee to flavor and a really good quality flavor, and you'll end up with a really good quality flavored coffee. There's a lot of coffees out there on the shelf. If you've ever tried them, our flavor drinkers are, it's like, I've tried these other companies. When they try ours, I said, yours is so much better. The way we flavor out here, the way you see it being done, that's not the most efficient way, but it's by far the best way.
We're gonna do cupping, which is the part of the roasting process where you're gonna do taste testing and quality control.
We have our 40th, which is what we've been drinking all day, but now you'll be doing it how we pretty much evaluate it as roast masters, and our flying fish blend. Yep.
So the Colombians are on the
Colombian,
side?
Nicaragua, and flying fish.
All right.
The first thing we usually do, we get a dry aroma. So pretty much you can smell and pick up any good or bad attributes that might be on there. Always, in this case, we're always looking for good. If there's anything bad up here, I have not done my job right. Please feel free to grab one and get a nose out of it.
So this is what you do when you're evaluating the coffee. How many times do you do this throughout the process? You do it.
Do it at the country of origin.
Yeah.
And when we're back home, once we're ready to ship that product, we get a pre-ship sample. It gets milled, goes to the port, we get a pre-ship sample. Once it arrives at the United States ports, could be Jacksonville, Miami, New Orleans, or Jersey, we get an arrival sample. If during the transit time, could be anywhere from 4 to 8 weeks, anything happens to that container, we will be able to pick it up. So if anything was damaged, if there's a container of any kind of paint next to it, coffee is very aroma attractive. So it'll pick up anything around it. We'll be able to pick that up in the cup. And then obviously, as we're running it through production, we do spot checks. So randomly we'll pick up blends or origins and try them to make sure that it's staying up to par. As I mentioned back there, I mean, most of our containers will be here for every bit of 4 weeks before it completely processes through our facility, because we're rotating our products as fast as possible, keep it as fresh as possible. So we make sure that it's just getting through into our facility and out of facilities to our end user, so they can enjoy the fresh cup of coffee. And like I said, spot checking is just to make sure that the quality is staying all the way across from beginning to end. And what you're going to see is you're going to see it form a crust. We're going to let it sit for about 4 minutes. Now, the neat thing about doing these cuppings is it's just water and coffee. There's no filtering method. So usually filters do trap some of the flavors. Not all, but it'll trap some of the flavors. It'll mask some of the defects that you can find in coffee.
Gotcha.
In this case, it's just strictly
It's exactly what the
water and
flavor
coffee.
is. You're getting
Yep.
what that flavor truly is.
So what we do here is we break the crust.
This is going to give you a real indication of what may or may not be in that
Let's
cup.
give that one a shot.
So what you do is you take the back of your spoon, push that aside, and get your nose as close to it as you can. If you burn your nose, you're doing it right.
What you're wanting to do is you're going to aspirate it all over your taste buds.
So you're going to spray it so that all your taste buds, you get sweet, salt, sour, bitters on the back.
There's more spoons.
Do everything process. Caffeine is water soluble, but so is sugar, starches, acid, and all those other compounds that give coffee its unique flavor. Remove the caffeine till it's 97.9%, which most of it's higher, 99. But the FDA, you have to.
Start with the Colombian.
The Colombian.
Just get a good amount and go away.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
This one's better than that. This one's better. I like the one in the middle. So.
Okay, that was the Colombian blend.
Yeah, I guess it's a little good.
And then this one is the Disney Their 40th blend. Is that right?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
What was this one? I forgot.
That's Flying Fish, I believe.
Which one? Was it one?
Flying
Middle
Fish.
one?
That one's Flying Fish, right?
They're gonna ship them in but
I've never eaten there. It's like one of the old restaurants in Disney World I've never eaten. He made such a like impressive noise.
No, he did, but he did it like a.
That's a really.
I'm with you, man. I like that. I like the middle one.
So you just
He did it like all
That one's awesome. Yeah, the middle one's the best one so far.
like coats.
Okay, I gotta be better at the noise.
Kind of wood.
I like that one too. I think I like the Flying Fish one the best, but I don't know. The 40th one is pretty
a little
good.
bit more multi-dimensional because it's got a couple of different coffees in there.
No, you just.
What you'll do is you'll cup this at 10-degree increments. Coffees, a bad coffee will tell on itself as it cools. So certain heat will hide certain aromatics, pleasant or unpleasant. So you can stop at a gas station and get a cup of gas station coffee, and when it's still piping hot, you can start drinking it and just, oh, it's all right. And then you put it aside and forget about it. And then you pick up that cup like 20, 30 minutes later and drink, take a sip of it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, what happened? Did somebody force it? As it cools, all those undesirable attributes start to show themselves. So when we're doing our cuppings, we start at, 200, we drop it down to 170 before we're starting. But I mean, we cup it all the way down to room temperature, and then we can declare that coffee as being sound. And again, you got to remember, we're drinking our coffees black, but there's a lot of people out there that's going to take that cup of coffee and put a lot of cream and sugar in it, automatically going to drop it down to that lower temperature. So if we're not doing a check to make sure that it's sound all the way through, it might taste really good hot, but then when that person puts cream, it's a completely different. It's a completely different. So we have to make sure that we've gotten all the things that we need to do to make sure that that coffee, and if you can drink that coffee at room temperature, enjoy it as much as you did when it was hot, you got a good coffee, a good sound coffee.
Okay, that was awesome. For someone who drinks a ton of coffee, I knew very little about how it's made, what the process is like, and it was so fascinating to learn about Joffrey's start to finish, how they make all the different amazing coffees that they make, how the amount of quality and care, and you could just tell how passionate the people are that work there. Everyone we spoke to was so excited. You could tell that freshness and having just the best cup of coffee was the most important thing. Also, kind of love that their partnership with Disney started a little bit under the table business deals, which, I'm a big fan of. Not really. They figured it out, but it was just such a pleasure, and it was so cool to learn all of that. Not to mention getting the best cup of coffee I've ever had. They sent me with a second one for the road. This is the nitro cold brew of my beloved Shaky Jamaica, and you can just taste the flavor notes even better when it's nitro, and this is amazing. Also, as if I wasn't already spoiled enough, they not only did they send me home with a nitro Shaky Jamaica, but a bag of goodies. So let's see what's in there. There were two other media folks here, but they said they put something extra in mine. So let's look. Okay, first of all, this cute Joffrey's tote, and inside it looks like a print, and they put Shaky Jamaicas in there for me. Oh my gosh, you're too good to me, Joffrey. As well as a bag of their 40th anniversary blend, which I tried. It was so delicious. But not only did they give me a bag, they actually gave me a couple of extras to give away to some of you as a thank you. And so make sure you're following Mammoth Club on Instagram, because we'll do that giveaway at some point, and that is how you'll be able to enter. So thank you, Joffrey's, for that, and also for this invite, because this was so cool. It was amazing to go behind the scenes and learn a little bit more about the history of the company, their partnership with Disney, the process, again, the passion and care that everyone had for the best cup of coffee possible is so clear. I taste it every time I drink a shaky Jamaican, and it was even more evident today. So I hope all of you had fun going behind the scenes at Joffrey's with me as well. I know this was a little bit different of a video, but I hope it was fun and exciting. And also thanks to all of you who tagged me in your shaky Jamaican pictures, who enjoy shaken Jamaican and watch Mammoth Club. Because of you guys, that's why we get to do cool things like this and bring you with us on these awesome adventures. Well, that is a wrap on our Joffrey's adventure today. Definitely let me know your favorite blend or your favorite Joffrey's drink you've had down in the comments. And in the meantime, friends, make sure to rate, review, subscribe, follow us on social, come hang out with the Mayhem Fam in Discord. And until next time, friends, I'm Molly, and it has been so delicious. Cheers. Truly is magic in a cup.